Hey everyone, welcome back to the Season 8 recap series. This is week 6. I'm your host, Juice. We've made it back to Pokemon Earth, finally. I'm here with Diggory. How you feeling to be back on real ground?
Oh, I'm so nice and warm down here. Space is so cold. Yeah, I know our viewers were also like just so worried about us and whether or not we were
Oh,
gonna
for
get back
sure.
okay. But we're here, as you said. We're here on Pokemon Earth. We're here in King Gambit's Row and
hmm
looking for studio space. There's a nice building right behind me that I thought looked very appealing, overlooking the objective here. Quite nice.
But it's kind of expensive, and I don't think the scrap covers it, and I'm
This,
definitely not letting you take us back to space for more of it.
yeah, no, there's no way I'm going back to space. And yeah, like you said, the scrap didn't really cover it. We don't have quite enough, and we would only have enough for a single month anyway. We got to keep this going, so we'll have to look for outside sources of income. I was thinking I'd set us up with a sponsor. I have a meeting with a guy actually, in just a bit here.
Ooh, I mean, it would have been nice if we could have just been self-sustaining through, YouTube comments and engagement and all that, but clearly you guys didn't get the message. So I guess we have to do sponsored content. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if the guy who shows up is a little shady, we don't have to go through the deal, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So,
Anyway, we're just gonna record out here on the objective for now, and
yeah,
hopefully be in a studio next week if we find a little extra income.
sounds good. So for our matches this week, I believe it's 2 quick ball matches and 1 timer ball match, so just 3 for you today. That being said, I
Yes.
think we're good to start game 1.
Yeah, let's see it.
Cool. So, we've got our first match here. This is Whiskey's Crew versus Bird Watchers. We've got the Trick Room team that we've been seeing this season versus OJ with some Trick Room preparations, swapping in 2 C tiers, I believe. That's
Yep.
I
Whiskey's got a
as
very
well.
standard 6 here. Ampharos, while it's a C tier, is I think basically a mainstay on Whiskey's
hmm
team. And typically what subs in and out are the B tiers to make up for that.
Yeah, for sure. It's Gyarados this week, which makes perfect sense. There's an Annihilate there. It's probably running Defiance. I don't want to feed the Annihilate any more boosts than I have to.
Yeah. And I mean, having the one Intimidator is, I still think, like a good call. Like OJ has a lot of Pokemon that are potentially very scary physical Pokemon. Ogerpon, Salamence, even like Grimmsnarl can
hmm
dish out some good physical. And so even though you're like trying to avoid the Defiant on the Annihilate, having that Intimidator, I mean, especially if it's Incineroar, is still a good bring.
Yeah, I think sacrificing Intimidate for Blaze here is tough. Like, even if there
It's
is a
basically
Defiant.
just not an ability at that point.
Yeah,
I think Blaze can work on certain Pokemon, but not Incineroar.
Incineroar is too good at what it does to sacrifice it. So I agree with keeping the Intimidate here. Besides that, looking at OJ's side, we are missing Salamence and Espathra. Salamence makes a lot of sense. There's pretty much no physical attackers on this team besides Incineroar. And Espathra is not what you want to be bringing into Trick Room.
It's got what, Frisk as its other ability? Is there anything else?
I think it's got one more. I guess it
It's
could
I'm
work,
looking
but
now.
it's,
It's Frisk and Opportunist.
I
Uh,
guess.
but yeah, I think it's fine to leave it. I don't know what the
Yeah.
Psychic type really
And I
does
mean,
for you.
yeah, Registeel is great here, and so is Swampert, so I think both of those picks make a lot of sense. Without getting too much into the weeds of like the specifics of OJ's prep, huge shout out for a lot of really good prep into Trick Room. There's a whole bunch of, low speeds and minus speed natures and some general prep to make sure that it's not just that, he's not trying to just stop Tail or Trick Room from ever going up, or just
Yeah,
ignoring the
he's like
possibility.
I can live in Trick Room
Yeah.
too. Especially if you think it's going to be, if you look at your team and you think it's hard to deny Trick Room, especially if you're trying to deny it more than once. Like Whiskey has a couple different setters, I think. It's not just Hatterene.
Yeah, I mean, for
Um,
ref.
that's for Growth and Hatterene. So you're kind of expecting to have to deal with at least one 4-turn of Trick Room. So
hmm
I like that a lot. Just sort of embrace it.
For sure. And of course, it's good to have a couple speed options just in case. The Ogerpon has utility in Trick Room, notably the Sturdy makes sure that even if it is clicking Follow Me, it can always survive 2 hits for its partner in Trick Room. And, that's, I think, useful in and out. So it makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, I like it. Registeel is, I think, very quickly becoming one of OJ's favorite Pokemon on his team.
For good
It's
reason.
it's his kill leader for one.
Really?
Yes, it is
Wow.
9-1 after this week.
I did not know that. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean it is. I think it's basically the only special defense on his entire team. But doesn't. I mean, it's also obviously very physically bulky. It gets body press now. It can dish out a good amount of damage after just like a little bit of setup. Like it's basically just one iron defense and it's online.
Yeah, that makes sense. I did not realize it was doing that good. Yeah, fair enough. No, I love Registeel here. Makes a ton of sense. Big pickup. And Swampert's just one of the most consistent Pokemon just for like any game, any situation. Swampert works. It's slow. It's a good pick here.
Yeah, are we gonna review? I forget if it gets revealed. Are we talking about or Swampert's item?
It does get revealed, so we'll wait.
Okay, we'll talk about it then.
In that case, you want to get started with the set?
Yep, let's play it.
Sounds good. Oh, I gotta change the speed. There we go. I gotta change the speed so we can all enjoy every single Pokemon hitting the field one by one. We've got the Intimidate Incineroar. We've got the Shiny Farigiraf. We've got the soon-to-be Defiant Boosted Annihilate. And the Grimmsnarl.
Yep, we see Grimmsnarl is it Frisk? I don't think we saw Frisk.
Frisk?
It's Prankster.
Yeah, I would hope so. Light Screen.
I ran Frisk one time.
Light Screen is a huge bring here just to, you know, deny a lot of damage from this team. Trick Room goes up, and here comes the Ally Switch. As we see Side Scary Face into Annihilate, which is gonna let it keep up, I guess, with these guys in Trick Room. So really funny bring there.
Yeah, that is, yeah, Rage Fist goes into the Ally Switch slot. You know, just rough, but now that only really works once to catch people off guard. Now it's revealed. Helping Hand, Dazzling Gleam, almost going to kill, but the Light Screen allows that to hang on, which is nice, and then the Rage Fist will come over and thank you for that.
150 base power.
Yeah, is it 150? Oh yeah, I got hit by the...
By 2 Dazzling
What was the
Gleams.
first hit? It was the first Dazzling Gleam. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
150 base power Rage Fist. This thing is low health, but it is set up.
For sure. Yeah, at this
Do
point...
we think it's slower than Bear here?
I don't think so. Annihilate is like base 90.
Yeah, it's stupidly fast, actually.
Yeah. Helping Hand's going to come out as Annihilate's going to protect. It's not really like an issue. The problem is, you know, next turn you're still going to be in the same position and you can't protect. So Annihilate's probably not making it out of this alive. Registeel is.
Yeah.
Registeel doesn't care.
That was, I assume, an Ally Switch prediction with the Body Press into the Giraffe slot.
Yeah. And so was that, I think.
Oh, so it is slower.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a double.
I mean, at half
slot.
speed. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
But anyway, the Hyper Voice does pick that up here thanks to the ability on the Bear. It's able to hit Ghost type, and the Registeel still just says like, "Cool, that's nothing to me." It said, well, I guess it doesn't say un un un. That's Regirock, right?
Yeah, I think the famous one is Regirock. I don't know what Registeel says, but
We can pretend he says un un un.
Ursaluna Blood Moon making it out of that Trick Room with full HP, by the way, since I think OJ was just trying to call Ally Switches that never came out. One important thing about Ally Switch is that people sort of sometimes think of it like, well, it's a 50-50 if they're in this slot or the other slot until, you know, you start spamming it in the Oz drop, you know, like whether they click it or not. But when you click Ally Switch, you're not clicking a different move, which sounds really obvious, but sometimes your opponent wants to click a different move. You know, they want to attack or they want to, you know, Helping Hand in this case. So you can kind of use that, but it's hard.
I would almost, and I mean, I guess it does depend on the situation, but I would almost never say that it's a good idea to try to call the second Ally Switch, because even if you're like, I know exactly what this person's going to do, you're banking on a fail chance not happening in order to get that read correct.
Right. Well, that wasn't like he clicked it multiple times in a row. I'm just saying like that was just like him trying to call when the Ally Switch was coming and Farigiraf never clicking it. And that's just like Ally Switch is a stupid move and you just have to put up with that sometimes, but
I think it was 2 turns in a row on the Body Press slot. Because
no,
it was the turn Hatterene went down.
This is the only Ally Switch we saw. Oh, this turn you mean? Here? Like that was Ally Switch and then this was a Helping Hands, and
yeah, I see. I see. I'm wrong. Never mind.
No, you're good. But yeah, just in general, just remember that people do have to click Ally Switch to switch places, which, like I said, sounds stupid, but sometimes you can leverage that, you know, if they need the helping hand to boost, get a KO, yada yada yada. Ally switch is a stupid move. I hate it.
It's interesting. I guess
I
it's
don't
better
think
now
it's
that it's got a fail chance. It used to not have a fail chance.
I think it's interesting in the way that I described, or that you saw the way I described Porygon 2 was interesting, which is to say evil.
Crit on the body press does
Yeah.
not pick up the kill.
It's
That's
gonna
pretty impressive
live.
bulk, because that thing is not intimidated. Clear body kept that from being dropped, which is nice.
To be
Good
fair,
prep.
it is using its defense stat there, not its attack stat.
You're right.
So,
It's so late. It genuinely is so late.
quick shout out to that fake out damage, by the way. That is Choice Banded Incineroar. I
Yeah,
just think that's funny.
I would normally say choice band fake out is an interesting call, but I actually think it's fine on Incineroar. Like, what else is Incineroar running? Like, you could bring the band Incineroar, and very likely just click Flare Blitz, you know, a bunch of times, or knock off. So like, having those two stab options and then U-turn or fake out is, I still think, like a good call.
I think it makes sense. Yeah, I don't hate it at all.
Yeah, funny, but not bad.
We're gonna see the helping hand Pollen Puff, not gonna kill, but of course Rock does not resist Bug, which means it's gonna hit Ogerpon super effectively.
Jesus, why does Rock not resist Bug?
The Cradling Conundrum.
Rock is such a garbage. It's just designed poorly. Rock doesn't resist Bug or Rock, and I think it should resist both.
Yeah, or Ice.
That's all. I'll get off my soapbox. It shouldn't resist Ice, actually. I don't think that's a good... Because, like, water gets inside Rock, and then it freezes, and that breaks the Rock.
That sounds like water to me, but, you know.
No, it's explicitly the freezing of the water that breaks it.
Okay, sure, that's fine. Real quick shout out to this turn. So there was a lot of confusion in the chat that we're about to see here. So this Farigiraf clicks Ally Switch, and then this Amoonguss clicks Pollen Puff on its partner. I think some people mentioned that the taunt might have blocked the Pollen Puff because it becomes a status move going sideways. That's not what happens here. It's specifically that the Pollen Puff goes into the slot that the Amoonguss is now in, right?
Yeah, I don't think you can taunt Pollen Puff in that way, or at all.
Yeah, it doesn't work. So it is because the ally switch occurred, putting Amoonguss in the slot that Pollen Puff was targeting. Now you can't Pollen Puff yourself, so the move fails.
There's a couple moves that work like that. Yeah, Heal Pulse works the same way. I think most most ally target moves like coaching, anything like that will fail if you ally switch the same turn.
Yeah. So weird interaction. I haven't seen it before, but I guess good to keep in mind.
I've definitely done that before. I don't remember if it was in an official match, but like, it feels like a cool play, and then it doesn't work, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, tragic. But turn's still going. Heavy Slam gonna do absolutely nothing here. You can see the chat blow up as people try to figure out what's going on. Swampert gonna take.
I need someone to explain that to me. I feel I'm gonna roast Whiskey here for a sec. I feel like every single week Whiskey's like, hold up, what just happened?
and he still gets away with it. So
he does get away with it. He can't keep getting away with it.
By the way, quick shout out. We've got room service Swampert, my goat.
Yes, finally. I was gonna say that's I love room service as an item. It feels like it's I mean, even if you're not running Trick Room yourself, like, it's such a good thing to just have in your back pocket, like a utility umbrella would be if it was like designed well. Yeah, or an item. You know, it's like, this is a counter item to a team archetype.
Yeah.
And anyone can bring it. And I feel like this is the first time we've seen anyone bring it versus Whiskey.
Yeah, versus Whiskey.
That could be false.
I think I might have seen one in the past, or I think people, I don't know. But regardless, good prep. I love OJ's team prep-wise this game, so huge fan. That's all. That's my shout-out. Heavy Slam not going to kill.
Yep.
I'm going to scroll down on the chat again. Giga Drain going to do nothing, as I'm pretty sure Amoonguss is not surviving this turn.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what else it would have clicked there.
That Earth Power did 55%, by the way, on Registeel.
It's got 150 base special defense.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just, that's kind of ridiculous. This is an Ursaluna.
It is a ridiculous Pokemon.
That's a tough Focus Blast miss.
I mean, but it is a Focus Blast miss, and
yeah,
can any Focus Blast miss really be tough? I don't mean to
No.
be non-sympathetic, but like it is a notoriously inaccurate move.
Yeah. I guess that's the game of, does this thing learn a different fighting move, or are you just stuck with it? It does not learn
Yeah.
Aura Sphere. That's fair enough. But yeah, it's a 30%. It's tough to deal with.
Right. Like I'm not gonna harp on a missed zap cannon, and I don't feel it's that different. Vacuum Wave is a move we have seen before on Archeluna. I just think it's a move that we don't see in almost any other Pokemon. But Vacuum Wave is just strangely good on this thing.
Yeah. No, it's weirdly nice here. I think the only other relevant thing that I think gets it is like Iron Valiant, but that thing's already fast, so.
Very good on Whiskey to have it. Like
Yeah.
he's got very strong Trick Room support, and there's a lot of reason to believe that like I don't need priority on my Ursaluna. It's always it's always going to be here, and it's always going to be slow. But as we see here, sometimes you do have to end game with something outside of your desired speed control, setting, and that's really when this thing will shine. So
yeah,
nice
I
prep.
think I want to say that we saw Vacuum Wave against the Trick Room team from Iron Valiant, which similarly, same concept of having an option for when you're outside of your comfort zone, just opposite speed tiers. So just kind of a fun thing. Liquidation not going to kill here, even with the Torrent boost, is unfortunate because it just, I mean, if you can kill either one here in a single turn, then you're kind of okay, but unfortunately just not quite, and Whiskey's going to close this out.
Yep. A close end game for sure. I think, that liquidation killing would have made a lot of difference in how that ended up.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ampharos could have closed it out on its own.
Yeah.
I mean, does Grimmsnarl have a Spirit Break this week or something like that?
Let's find out together.
It
does not have Spirit Break. It does have a way of dealing damage, but not as efficiently, so it would have been hard. Funny enough, if you went for, instead of Focus Blast, just a more consistent damaging move there, Ursaluna would have died, but obviously it's hindsight's 2020, You're not, it's hard to bank on that, so I'm not really giving OJ, I'm not saying that was the wrong move or anything.
Yeah, I mean, if it landed, it would have been big, so like,
yeah, I mean, you probably could have won the game off it, so like, I would have done the same thing. So fair enough.
Yeah.
But
it's unfortunate. But it's Focus Blast. Good match from both players, for real. This was like I think this was maybe Whiskey's closest match in a couple weeks. He does have a loss on the board, so obviously he's had closer matches. But actually, this match was closer than that one, but just in the wrong direction. But yeah, I think Whiskey's been kind of on a tear lately, and this was I think a good match.
Another good
overall.
one. Also, another shout out to OJ. I think Annihilate started to click for this team a little bit more this game. It got a little bit more value. It only got the one kill, but it got its boosts, it got everything. One unfortunate thing that OJ mentioned is that he wanted to run, like a bulk up set, because this is pretty much the bulk up set, but he ran Curse to try to drop his speed. He's still a ghost type. That is the wrong Curse. So just an unfortunate thing there, but it didn't really come up because I don't know when he would have clicked it anyway in front of all those special attackers. But yeah, nice to see Annihilate do a little bit more after he was struggling a bit to use it. So that's all. I just wanted to mention that.
He should have just Terra Fighting'd.
He should have. You're so right, actually. Why? OJ, come on. I think that's it for this game, though.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's run it to game 2.
Let's move on. Yep.
So we're on to game 2. This is Run It Back versus Sucrêve. We've got most of Amaryllis's top 6 here. We are missing Dragapult out of A tier in exchange for Lantern.
Yeah, Lantern's first appearance, maybe in not ever in TDD. I think Steven used it maybe season 2, but it is the first appearance in season 8. Why do you think it's here?
So it looked to me, Dragapult being left behind, it has a couple mediocre matchups here, but the big thing is Iron Bundle is an ice type that with booster energy outspeeds it. Lantern being subbed in here makes me think that Amaryllis is scared of Iron Bundle, which is a fair thing to be scared of. So it looks like she's bringing it as a way to deal with it. The water absorb with funny item. Can I mention the item?
I think you can mention the item. I don't know if this would ever come again.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, this is Yachi Berry Lantern, which is the Ice Resist Berry. For those of us
Water absorb as well.
water absorb, ice resist. So this is
That covers Iron Bundle's entire move pool.
somehow it's there
All
for
of it,
free
all
strike.
10 moves.
All 10 moves. Not Encore though.
Yeah, that's true.
No mental herb, but that's okay. So to me, it reads like an anti-bundle set, which makes a lot of sense. Everything else here is pretty much just the top 5 that you would expect at this point. But
You know what?
good.
I'm noticing now, and this is the first time we're covering Kotard, and he's making me regret it because his team is out of order.
We let him do that because of Zoroark.
Okay, I forgive you, Kotard. You're right. You're right.
Never mind.
I once again
Week
will
6
say
canceled.
it is late.
That's okay. We've been up later, but that's okay.
I don't know if you mentioned this. We talked about it right before starting recording here. Mimikyu also is a pretty good answer to Dragapult, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, it can take the hit, and it can just retaliate and blow it up a little bit with either stab. And Shadow Sneak, so it makes sense. I would be scared.
I think that's a good call, yeah.
Yeah. Looking over on Kotard's side, we have dropped 2 of our top 6. Mega Alakazam is gone. That makes sense.
And we're also missing Venusaur.
Venusaur, yeah. Which...
Yeah, Mega Alakazam, to touch on that briefly.
Oh, yeah.
We have seen this before, I think, notably with Plastic's match against Amaryllis. It's very rough to have like a high-tier Psychic, even a bulky one, but a high-tier Psychic type that's like... Just having that come against this SAA, which is Darkrai, Mega Scizor, Dragapult. And like, especially with Mega Alakazam's, like, it's just so physically frail. It's probably going to die to a Bullet Punch, or maybe just barely live it.
And it can't sash either because of the Mega Stone.
Yeah.
So you'd pretty much be forced to Focus Blast the Darkrai if you even got the chance, and it's a mess. You would need, like, Psychic Terrain, was something you mentioned pre-recording, but I think it would have to set its own Psychic Terrain, and that's really sketchy. So totally makes sense to drop it here.
Yep, and then the Venusaur not coming, I think also is fine. Like, Venusaur is an interesting Pokemon off of a Sun team. Like, it doesn't really have the best support to do its like funny Sleep Powder stuff, and at that point it's really just like it's working with a middling special attack stat. I don't know. I don't actually love the Pokemon that much outside of a Sun team. I could be wrong. Like, it still has
I think
decent
Kotard
moves.
might have been banking on more manual Sun, both to support the Chi-Yu's damage output and the Venusaur, but in practice hasn't come up that much. So yeah, dropping Venusaur makes sense, and Kilowattrel and Tauros Paldea Combat, I believe, are both phenomenal C tiers to be bringing in general, so I think they work here.
Yeah, I think Tauros has come every match.
For good reason. It's a good C tier.
Yeah. And then, like you said, Kilowattrel, good Pokemon. It's a good Tailwind setter. It can dish out a surprising amount of damage with its ability. It's very fast as well. 125 base isn't going to go... I don't think that's going to outspeed Dragapult. It definitely won't outspeed Dragapult. The Darkrai, though. I think Darkrai still outspeeds that, right?
Yeah, Darkrai
130.
is faster. Yeah, so you won't quite get it, but still a good Pokemon to have for sure. So
yeah,
I think makes sense.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, let's see
Start
what
the match?
we got here with this
All
match.
right, let's run it. Hatsune Miku jump scare. There's Kilowattrel. There is Tauros Paldea Combat. That is Sabai. And I guess Mareep. Real quick, one thing I wanted to touch on just off the turn 1, because it helps explain some of Kotard's logic this game and some of the nicknames. Kotard's plan for this game, to my understanding, was to lead Chi-Yu next to Zoroark Hisui disguised as Chi-Yu. And the goal was to set up this really silly 50-50 of hit the right fish or get hit by Specs Overheat, essentially.
That is very funny.
Which I respect the hell out of. Unfortunately, you can't lead a Pokemon you're illusioned as because, you know, they're not the last Pokemon in your party.
Right. I am assuming this would be the same way it would work on cartridge, because I think that's how they kind of decided to model it. But when you're in Showdown and you have a Zoroark on your team, instead of just clicking Leap 1, Leap 2, you click every single Pokemon in order. And so inherently, 1 and 2 are still those lead slots, and you can't put Chi-Yu in 6th, which would be where the Zoroark needs to be where it needs to be to get duplicate, and also have it lead. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
the only
unfortunate.
the only way you could pull that off is if like you got double downed and brought them in, because you obviously don't want to be switching in Chi-Yu and Zoro or Kisui into attacks that can hurt you, right? So just wanted to provide that bit of context for the game itself. I'm gonna start the game again, or start
Please
the game
do.
for real. All right.
I'm gonna start rambling.
That's fake out. No covert cloak, so we're gonna get flinched. No tailwinds for us. Raging Bull is gonna deal a good chunk, as is Volt Switch. And we're gonna see the booster speed Iron Leaves come out here as Mimikyu comes back in. And a light screen. So we're going to catch the disguise on the way in this game, and I believe that's going to be Tailwind this time. So 4 turns of speed control plus the wind power. And we're going to see...
we have Quash.
Yeah.
We've talked about Quash before, I think.
Both of these Pokemon learn Quash, yeah. So we've talked about it for Amaryllis a couple times.
Yeah.
So...
it can be useful, I guess. Probably here because you're expecting the Mimikyu to be throwing out a Ghost move into the Psychic type.
Yeah, the big thing is that Quash is only good if you can stop the Pokemon who would be moving first from, you know, doing its turn, either by putting it to sleep before its turn or by just killing it. In this case, if you're quashing Mimikyu, I don't know how you're getting rid of Mimikyu with either of these Pokemon before it gets to attack, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how offensive this this Iron Leaf set is, but...
how are you killing Mimikyu? Well, I'll play out the turn, but, you know, Air Cutter's going to deal a little bit. It's going to Psyblade.
I see, it doesn't even target the Mimikyu, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just going to die and heal back up, so...
well, so...
go ahead.
Even if it's not trying to get rid of the Mimikyu, perhaps you're just saying, well, Iron Leaves is going to die. It might as well get some damage off first.
Right. I guess that makes sense. You can get the damage out before you go down. So... I guess that makes sense. I'm just curious if there's something Sableye could have done in the meantime instead of quashing, but I guess that's how that works if you didn't want to, like, switch out and lose the booster energy. So, okay, that makes sense.
I think switching out might have been the call here, though,
Yeah.
I will say. I think the Leech Life is good prep, though.
Yeah.
It's a shame getting back to full does not reset Disguise, but that'd be kind of busted, I think.
Mimikyu busted?
Mimikyu busted. You're right.
Okay, goodbye. There's the Intimidate. No Intimidate because we are Inner Focus. And here comes your good friend Caesar.
Yep.
To eat another
I'm a Caesar
Leech Life.
fan.
Sacred Fire's not going to get the burn, so this Mimikyu's got a little bit of life left in it. Just kidding, that's Kilowattrel. And we're going to see Raging Bull come out to pop the screen, which is pretty nice.
Yep, that does not very much damage, though. And yeah, Trailblaze has set up speed, as you were going to say.
Yeah, and not going to kill the Kilowattrel, which is actually probably a bad thing for Kotar, right? Because...
yeah, I think so.
Now it's going to get another one before anything else can come in to stop it. Like, if you die there, you can just bring in, like, Bundle, and you would still have Tailwinds for the turn, right?
Yeah, did it switch in this turn? I'm sorry, we keep pausing, so I'm definitely losing.
Who switched in? Kilowattrel?
Yeah, how long is Kilowattrel been in?
It just switched in.
It did, okay. Never. Continue.
Yeah. One thing we're going to see in the chat here, so we can't hide it, that is current Metronome boost 4096 out of 4096. So that is Metronome Tauros Paldea Combat. What do you think of Metronome Tauros Paldea Combat, Diggory?
I think it's maybe the worst damaging item you could have picked.
Punching Glove, maybe? Like any of the
Maybe.
1.1x boosts. But essentially the idea is Metronome, you know, for anyone unaware, the item boosts the power of attacks the more times it's used in a row. The problem is it takes so many turns to catch up to, it takes like 3 turns for the move to be as strong as like a Choice Band, but those first 2 turns were weaker. At that point, if you were going to click the same move 47 times, you may as well run a Choice Band, right? So.
Yeah, I think it also does not work very well on Pokemon that are as frail as Tauros.
Yeah.
Like, Tauros does not typically live enough turns for that to be a worthwhile item.
Granted, I don't know what Pokemon would be wanting to run Metronome in the first place, but if you were gonna, gun to my head run it, I don't know if I'd put it on Tauros, especially not when I've got a Intimidate immunity on the other side of the field, right?
Yeah.
So that's all. I just figured I'd mention it.
Yeah, because
There
it
are
also
feelings.
switching out makes it reset.
As well. And then you don't, then you have to build it back up. Here comes Mimikyu as a sacrifice to the Trailblaze. Now, that means Iron Bundle can no longer outspeed it with booster energy, I believe, so we're going to have to find another way around this thing.
Yep, and Scizor setting up its second Swords Dance. It's now at +3 or +4 rather, 3 times attack.
Not enough
Bullet
to
Punch
kill that.
doesn't, but it does set up the kill from the Stomping Tantrum.
That's
At
cheap.
this point in the game, Amaryllis is in a very strong position because there's not a lot that can kill the Scizor.
Yeah, I think we've seen this problem before. How do we kill the Mega Caesar? And the answer is, you don't. Like, there's special attacks on this team, but
I think Chi-Yu is the answer, but like it came in sort of too late to stop it. I think.
yeah,
I don't know. It's possible that it like by the time that second Trailblaze got off, like there wasn't much to be done if you didn't have the tools left there.
yeah.
But,
I think what you probably would have had to do would have been like, maybe instead of bringing in the Kilowattrel, sacrifice Mimikyu or something. Just because I think low HP Mimikyu doesn't do much for you anyway, while Kilowattrel is still fast enough to get a Tailwind off in general. You could sack the Mimikyu, Bundle can come in to threaten the thing, it'll live a Bullet Punch, since Bundle actually got pretty good Fizz Def. And you can threaten the
it's got
Entei,
weirdly
of course,
good
to
Fizz
switch
Def.
out.
Yeah, or I mean, this wasn't gonna happen this week because of the specs, but like protecting Chi-Yu there would have also been.
So
you would be allowed to then kill the Entei with the Zoroark, but
regardless, yeah, just a bit tough.
Yeah, Scizor does hit pretty hard after 2 Swords Dances.
Yeah, who could have foreseen the 3 times attack boosted Caesar would hurt to get hit by, but that's okay.
It's done this trick very often now at this point as well.
We have 2
God,
Kilowatt
2 birds,
and it's dead to Sableye Fake Out.
Well, there's the fake one. It wasn't me.
It wasn't Tauros either.
Bundle coming in at the very end of a rough position with the nickname "Did I Getcha" is a little sad.
Yeah, it's a little tough, but he's gonna get you right here. There's the.
He gets you right here.
He gets you.
Just a little unfortunate freeze here. It's still going to be very tough for Bundle to get back from this deficit, but it does get to pick up a kill.
Yeah, I think probably could have switched something in, probably the full HP Darkrai in the back to save the diff there, but that's a minor thing.
Yeah, or even Sableye, because it's still pretty bulky.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot Sableye was full.
Yeah. Lantern gets a kill. That's pretty cool for it.
That's my goat. Came back in after Volt switching out turn 1, but that's the game. Yeah, I think a little bit tough. I mean, obviously having to change your plans, not only does it make figuring out how to start the game hard, it also just kind of ruins your mindset, which is a little tough.
Yeah, I've been in that spot, like when you have a lead that you prepared, and whether it's like somebody brings something you didn't expect, or like whether it's because you have to shift your plan because of that, or because you realize something isn't going to work, like Kotard had here, it can just put you in a weird mindset. Like even if you're not I'm not saying you're going to be tilted, but you have to sort of adapt on the fly. There's the pressure of the opponent is waiting, so what used to be like something you could think about for 10 minutes or more in prep, you now have to feel like you're like kind of on the spot, and that can definitely just put you in a sort of a rushed mental state, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So it happens, but well played by Amaryllis. Another game of setup. I think this Caesar loves to set up specifically, and we've also seen a lot of coaching and this time Trailblaze from this Entei.
I don't even think this is Entei's first Trailblaze set. I think
it's not.
This is becoming a very common thing with Amaryllis' team. So hopefully we can see some people try to tackle that with some counter prep. But yeah, I think this was not the closest match. It definitely had like a little bit of a sweep at the end, but we did want to show Kotard's game because we hadn't shown him one yet.
We haven't been able to show his games.
And yeah, and it's because they've typically been going very well for him, and they've been very one-sided. But we're here in week 6, and we just felt like we should show one after all these times.
For sure, and I think this game was interesting enough to discuss for some play-by-play anyway. So I think that's about it for game 2. So I guess on to our one and only timer game for the week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's run it. And this is going to be our last game of the week. This is Ancient Suns versus Team Fourgeist, our one timer ball match for the week. Looking over on Hamster's side, we have dropped one Pokemon to bring in the C-tier Shift Tree.
It is Mamoswine.
It is Mamoswine. I think that makes
Mamoswine's,
sense.
it's come to quite a few games. I don't think it's come to every game, but
Nah. But like 4.
yeah, it's come to 4 out of 5 prior to this one, this being the 6th. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess like you probably just think, well, it doesn't really like Tusk. It doesn't really like Walking Wake. It's not a big fan of Charizard. It's not a big fan of Magnezone. It's not a big fan of Aerodactyl. It's not a big fan of Serena.
It's a fan of Magnezone.
Do you think so?
It kills Magnezone.
Does Magnezone get sturdy?
Yes, it kills Magnezone eventually.
No, Magnezone fires back with the Flash Cannon and it dies.
Does it die? Okay, you're right. My bad. Man, I like Mamoswine.
Its
he's
special
going
defense
through.
is 60.
Oh, okay, my bad. No, he's dead. Goodbye, Mamoswine.
I mean, it's got big HP number.
Yeah.
So maybe it's living. I don't know. Like Magnezone is offensive though, so
Sure. Okay, fair enough.
I think it's
it makes
not
sense to
doing
drop
much
it here. Yeah.
And you get Shiftry instead, which is actually a good Sun Pokemon. I know from experience, and Fake Out utility, Tailwind Setter. It's got a lot going for it. It's very versatile.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really easy to just pop like Solar Blade or something, or Solar
Exactly.
Blade,
Yeah.
into this Solar Blade, right?
No, you're right. Solar Blade.
Yeah, into this team and just like blow up Tusk, get good damage on the Wake, etc., etc. So makes a lot of sense. Everything else here is pretty standard, though on some pretty unique sets that we can talk about as they come out.
Yeah, I think we can just go with the start of the match here.
Well, we should talk about Peanut's team.
We probably should, yeah.
Yeah. Peanuts brought top 3, Magnezone out of B tier, which makes sense. Pretty good matchup into the SAA in general, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the Naganadel does sort of struggle to hit it. I think the Sun boosted Flamethrower would do fine. So
Yeah.
I guess you have that option. Genesect also does get the Flamethrower.
Yeah.
So we're basically running like non-stab coverage into Magnezone from the SAA. Mystical Fire as an option on Gardevoir. What's it scared of, like, if anything? We already talked about Mamoswine, which isn't here.
I guess
it doesn't love
Arcanine.
Arcanine.
Like,
Yeah.
the problem is all these fire moves that you're mentioning are sun boosted, so any fire move it takes is probably going to kill unless it's sturdy. So that's really what it's scared of, but if you can position it using like a Tailwind or something, it really threatens thing. It can eat a Draco from the Ganadel and drop its special attack in the process, etc. So I think it's useful
It's
here.
probably sturdy, right? Magnepool does not really do much if you...
You could be analytic.
Genesect... Okay, yeah. Well, Genesect is like almost always going to run U-turn.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. No, I meant analytic specifically, but...
Genesect being here into a Sun team is a little scary, I will say, right?
It is, but at the same time, like, Genesect's gonna go 1-1 minimum, right? Like,
I guess. We've seen it go less than that before, but...
It should. Like, it is interesting to bring it, but,
Yeah. I forget what the other C tiers are on Hamster's team, like what would have come instead. He's got Jellicent, Meowstic, and Chino. That's fair. Yeah, none of those Pokemon scream like... They're not going to take a Heat Wave any better. I guess Jellicent would.
Yeah.
But what's it doing in the meantime?
Yeah, for sure. Real quick on Peanuts C tiers, Aerodactyl's here. Aerodactyl's the GOAT. It's come to a lot of games, and it's, I think, despite the record, I think Aerodactyl's actually done quite well. It's done a lot for Peanut this season, so I think it makes a lot
What do
of
you mean,
sense.
despite the record? Just like the
Just
KD?
like, yeah, like, well, it's like, it's actually 4-4. I just meant like, it's one win, a couple losses,
I see.
right? So like, even
I mean, we've had some
despite that,
very close games. So
we have. I'm saying like Aerodactyl's done a lot to make those games close. So
True.
I think it's very good. And Lilligant here instead of Serena, you want the speed into a team like Hamsters. They're interchangeable.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Hamster does have a sort of like expected number of priority moves. Like 2 extreme speed users came to this match. Fake out user. So he's got 2 fake out users actually, because he has the Meowstic as well. So I think that the Serena could have done some stuff here. It's always like, I think like it's interesting. You know, you want to either have the speed or you want to control the priority. And he chose speed this week.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, but either works. We'll see how it pays off. But I'm good to start the match if you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's run it. All right. Charizard in the lead. Who could have foreseen this?
But the big wings are out. Everyone's got wings.
He's
Those are wings
unnerved.
on Shiftry.
We're going to see Charizard switch out before Mega Evolving, so there is not going to be Sun off the bat. And we're going to see a nasty plot and fake out. So really strong turn 1 here.
Yeah, I think that was a really good call from like the fake out target slot. We do see a double Heat Wave miss. That's just so unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean,
we've seen a lot of those.
Heat Wave has
Heat
been
Wave misses.
struggling this game, and I think Peanuts experienced some of it in other games as well. So
yeah,
is
Electro
tough.
Web is gonna start speed control. We also have the Tailwind, so that's just like a big turn of speed control over here.
A big turn for Peanut for sure. I mean, obviously double Heat Wave miss is bad. Assuming no burn, Magnezone lives the Heat Wave because of Sturdy. It is Sturdy this game, and we'll see how much Heat Wave does to Aerodactyl later in the game. So
yeah,
you know, that's obviously a nightmarish turn, but
the Charizard switching out, I think was like, that was a good call. I also think that Hamster had a reasonable expectation for that to happen, because you know, what is Charizard going to click there? Like, it can't click Heat Wave, because we don't know if this Shiftry is Wind Rider.
It has to be Chlorophyll into a Sun team though, right?
I guess it could easily. I think it could easily be Wind Rider just to be immune to Heat Wave.
Fair.
But yeah, probably is Chlorophyll.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway.
the switch is fair, but like, you know, it's a little tough to hit Naganadel. You have to be like running like Scorching Sands or something like that to hit it, you know? So
yeah,
I get switching out there,
but now we don't have Sun.
Yeah.
Which is a little rough, because you want to switch into your Protos like this. The Wing Beat is going to kill
in
the
one hit.
Shiftry.
There's the Heat Wave. So we're seeing Heat Wave. First of all, Tusk lives that, which I assume this Tusk is not Assault Vest.
I don't know. Is it not?
It's
I guess
not.
we don't see it in the debug.
No, I
right
see
there.
it here. Assault. He's just bulky. So fair enough, I guess, from Tusk. And yeah, 30% on the Aerodactyl there. And
So
Tusk
it would not be dead yet if the first Heat Wave had hit, but it would be close.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to see Dual Wing Beat. Really good tech there, by the way, to bring Dual Wing Beat to get around Focus Sash on the Vivillon if it were to bring it there. And a Dragon Pulse to get back up to +2 special attack with the Beast Boost.
Yeah, Tusk is back. We got a good Intimidate against 2 physical Pokemon right here. And also, we have Air Balloon, which means we cannot Headlong Rush that slot.
True. And it's going to Helping Hand, but it's going to get Headlong Rushed the other slot.
Yeah.
And Stone Edge almost going to pick it up. So,
yeah, I wonder if that Helping Hand was just assuming that the Tusk was going to be killing the Arcanine and just wanting to get a move off.
This is a Scarf Tusk, which had not been revealed yet. So I think Hamster thought that Naganadel was going to go first and blow something up. The Choice Scarf Jump Scare manages to save Peanut from, you know, getting exploded a little bit. But
that makes sense.
Yeah. Quick shout out to this Arcanine set. It's a lot more supportive than usual. Obviously the Air Balloon, but, you know, we're seeing some other stuff. We're seeing Intimidate instead of Rock Head, Helping Hand. So just a cool set. I'm not going to spoil the rest of it, but big fan. That's it.
It is funny to say, like, wow, look at this. It's unusual that this Intimidate Pokemon is running.
It's not running Intimidate. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess, yeah, it's typically like Rockhead. We get the download boost into special attack. That's probably not what he wanted here.
It is not. That Dual Wing Breed has crit twice now, and neither one was consequential.
Yeah.
This would be the turn that Aerodactyl dies, by the way. If he got healed earlier. So
yeah, you're right.
The more you know. So it would have swapped in here. We're going to trace Unnerve here. And
it's turn 7 and we finally get Sun.
Yeah.
Aerodactyl is going to protect, maybe expecting the extreme speed to try to finish that off. And instead, Charizard gets to die after setting this on, just like it's turn 1.
Yeah. The extreme speed crit there, I did the calcs on it earlier, does matter. Charizard lives that with 20% between the double up, give or take, without the crit there. So also pretty unfortunate, and resets things to give Hamster a little bit more of a chance in this endgame, even though it is pretty tough still at this point.
Yeah, I think this Lilligant here, even though it is not the first move, usually is going to carry Weather Ball. We see a crit to return, probably did not matter on that.
I would assume not. And Hyper
No,
Voice is going to come out there.
We have a full health Magnezone coming back in. It is sturdy, so we're going to assume here that it's going to be able to clean up.
Yeah, Future Sight.
That's funny. I don't know what that's for.
Hoes are popping off in the chat for Future Sight. It's his favorite move.
Yeah, he should just draft Jirachi and use Doom Desire.
Crazy thing, they made Future Sight too, and now there's no immunity.
They made it, and there's no immunity, exactly.
Exactly. But that's the game. Very close game there. Obviously, I mean, between the Heat Wave miss and the Extreme Speed crit and everything, that could have been a very different game if we were not playing Pokemon. But
yeah, we didn't feel too bad. Like, usually if there's like RNG that just decides a match, we don't like to show it very much. Like, there's not a whole lot of interesting stuff to talk about there, but we had it kind of balance out, and we think that there was enough non-RNG outcomes here that you know, it was definitely worth covering.
Yeah. Also, just a lot of cool sets in general this game. Aerodactyl obviously, you know, put in a lot of work. The Arcanine, the Gardevoir. I mean, you can imagine if it's running Future Sight, it's doing some goofy stuff in general. So a lot of good stuff.
Do you have the shift reset in front of you? Do we know what the ability was?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to spoil that.
This is Chlorophyll.
It is Chlorophyll. I think that's definitely the smarter play. I mean, having the speed doubled is so much better than being immune to one move that you can just like
you're always like in
for.
the back of your mind, you always have to be a little bit scared of the chance that it's Wind Rider. So I get it.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I think really close game on the whole, everything aside. Just a cool game. We love to see some Pokemon do things. I mean, this Choice Scarf on Tusk was pretty game-changing as well, to call that one out again.
Yeah, I think that's a good item for it. We did. I want to say, drop back to something earlier. I had said that the Aerodactyl has been popping off all season, and that it is 4-4. It is actually 4-4 after this match. You were kind of correct. Like, it's not that its record before this match was 1-3
or
1-3.
1-3, yeah.
So this has been, like, I think a good match for it to actually come and be an offensive threat.
Yeah. No, I was super excited to see it drafted. I sort of expected it to be clicking like more wide guard and less just dual wing baiting people, but fair enough. I mean, it worked this game, and it's gotten some good damage on the board in general, so definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, it wasn't carrying wide guard this week, I guess.
It hasn't been carrying in general. I just expected it to be running it more frequently, but you know.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah,
out.
I think wide guard is pretty decent into Mega Gardevoir especially, and we actually did see a turn there where it protected and Charizard died next to it from a spread move.
From a Hyper Voice, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, had that been wide guard, it would have lived.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, but this was Peanut's first win. We're happy to see him get one.
Sure.
Yeah, a little bit of a shame on the Heat Wave misses. That's like I don't remember. I've lost count, but we have seen quite a few Heat Wave misses through the last 2 weeks.
We've seen a lot of weird RNG this season. There's been some Draco whiffs. Heat Wave has not been a functional move. I saw a Hydro Steam miss, which I thought that move was 85% accuracy. It's 95. Not Hydro Steam, Steam Eruption. So
yeah, I know what you meant.
A lot of mysterious
Hydro
things.
Steam does not miss.
Yeah.
I think Heat Wave has a history in our league of missing. Like, that's just kind of a meme at this point.
It either misses or it like double burns. There is no in between.
Yeah, that does feel like that. So not like the first time we've seen shitty Heat Wave rolls, but it does suck to see them.
And not the last, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well,
it feels like such a safe move to run, and then it's not.
Yeah, I love accuracy mechanics, but that's how it goes. That's the game we play.
Accuracy mechanics on top of damage rolls with critical hit chance. Oh,
I love gambling.
get me started. Yeah.
Well, we can wrap this up, I think.
Yes, please wrap it up. I'm falling asleep here.
Sounds good. And that's going to be our week 6. Nice set of matches on the whole. Always fun to cover them. Not too much else to say on them, though Diggory brought up you wanted to cover some of the standing changes at the end of these episodes when possible in the future.
Yeah, in the future, right now, in the present. I think that like, I think that like if we record this late enough and the matches have happened, we can at least say, some of the things that have changed within the MVP chart or our standings of the divisions. So first up, we have Armor Rouge, who's the new MVP, the kill leaderboard, sitting at 14-3 after
Insane.
just 5 weeks of actual matches, like not including friend ball.
Yeah.
And as you were going to point out, the kill leader from last season at the end of the full season was Raging Bolt, with only one more kill than Armor Rouge is sitting at now. So it's had a very kill heavy season so far.
Yeah, Burnt's poured a lot into this thing, and it's clearly paying off. As we can see, Burnt is also leading the pack in timer as our only player still at 1 loss, as well as 4 wins. So pretty successful season. I think it was I think the 1 loss was like near the start, and the friend ball set him back in terms of everyone else, so it looked a little sketchy. But after that, he's kind of just been rolling through. So really, cool
he hasn't lost
see.
Since week 2.
Yeah, I mean, Burnt was the player who, he just barely got into timer this season, and I'm very glad we put him there. I am scared.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've had quite a few. I mean, actually, all 3 of our top 3 timer ball players right now, are all players who, formerly were quick ball. So very cool to see that. And then on the quick ball side, real quick, we do have Whiskey sitting at 4-1, another player who has only taken 1 loss. So Whiskey is at the top of quick ball right now. Good
Ursaluna Blood Moon's actually in second on the kill leader at 12-2, so not too far behind. So kind of similar runs there, just 1 Psychic Terrain team, 1 Trick Room team, leading each division respectively.
Yeah, the Ursaluna is an S tier, so you'd expect it to be like an executioner type thing.
For sure.
But Armor Rouge, just a special shout out from. It's also just never been drafted, so very cool to see.
Yeah.
To see that.
Well, I think
that'll do it for a little recap here. I got this sponsor rep right behind me. He just showed up.
You got
his name's Lifeweaver. Yeah, you know him? Oh, cool.
I've heard
Glad
of him.
you guys already met. Well, he's going to tell us a little more about our sponsorship opportunity, and we'll see if it makes any sense for our revenue stream going forward.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I trust Lifeweaver.
We should get off the street. I don't know how King Gambit's row gets at night, but I think the sun's going down.
I think the payload's gonna run us over in a second, so we should probably.
Yeah, actually, we're right in front of the garage door. Crap.
Well, we're gonna get out of here, so we will hopefully see you guys from Real Studio in week 7.
Yep, content will get better, I promise.
It will surely get there. All right, well.
Just in time for playoffs. All right.
You guys have a good one.
Goodbye.
Bye.